Episode 2 of Jujutsu Kaisen Season 2 gave us some stunning insight into the secrets surrounding the nature of Gojo's curse techniques, the mysterious and soon-to-be-killed Star Plasma Vessel, and more. Hidden Inventory 2 keeps the ball rolling and manages to condense a lot of crucial information into a 23-minute time frame if you were paying attention. We also got some valuable insights into the major players that will have some serious impacts on the story later on. Episode 2 manages to strike a perfect balance. It keeps the story moving while continuing the setup of major events that started with Episode 1. It smoothly introduces some new characters, gives us insight into the new characters introduced in the prior episode, and expands our understanding of the Jujutsu High faction. The pacing is excellent and feeds into the shocking revelations we receive perfectly. Oh, and before we go any further, I need you to hit the subscribe button. If you love Jujutsu Kaisen, anime in general, anime breakdowns like this one, recommendations and more, then this channel is the place for you. I upload multiple videos every single week. Now, with all that being said, let's talk about it. Hidden Inventory 2 was the perfect follow-up to the first episode of the season, and continues to paint the picture of just who Geto and Gojo were prior to the main Jujutsu Kaisen storyline. Opening up with the aftermath of the battle with the Q group that was teased at the end of episode 1 was an excellent narrative choice. Having this battle occur off screen continues to demonstrate for us the audience just how powerful and talented both Gojo and Geto are and were. Utilizing the patented Jujutsu Kaisen humor, we see that these two wipe the floor with their opponents, leading to the demise of this entire faction that was initially set up to be a major player in this conflict. It narrows the field, allowing us the audience to see where the real threat is coming from, all while keeping us wondering where this seemingly perfect partnership could have gone wrong. It then leads to what I found to be one of the first shocking revelations of the episode. Riko, the soon-to-be assimilated Star Plasma Vessel, isn't some random chick. She was identified at an early age, and has been raised and protected by the Jujutsu faction this entire time. In addition to this, she's lively and outgoing, with a hilarious personality, well aware of her upcoming fate, and seemingly not worried about it at all. Assimilation isn't death, she says. I will become Tengen, and Tengen will become me. She simply wants to enjoy the remaining time she has with her friends to the fullest. I'll be honest, this wasn't what I expected from her at all. From the bits we saw of her prior and your classic tropes, you would have expected a character that was both surprised at what was to come and reluctantly resigned to her fate. Events like this also tend to have this race to find the person narrative, and Jujutsu Kaisen cleverly made it look like that at first. Looking back though, this makes sense. Tengen's immortality technique is time sensitive, and not something they'd want to leave to chance. It had seemed like they had just identified the vessel 2 days prior to the ritual, but waiting to the last minute like that would be dumb as hell. Identifying the Star Plasma Vessel years in advance, and keeping them safe is what makes sense. Tengen and his technique are the cornerstone of the entire Jujutsu faction. They need to have all their ducks in a row. However, like with many revelations we've gotten so far, I'm left with questions. Does Riko really feel this way about her upcoming assimilation, or is this just her way of coping with the inevitable fate that's been looming over her for her entire life? Even Gojo comments that he thought she'd be more reserved about the whole thing. His and Geto's interaction during this point in the story provided his own set of revelations as well. In my prior video, which I'll leave a link to in the pinned comment below, I had mentioned how blasé the Jujutsu faction had seemed when facing the fact that they needed to snatch a random chick to be killed in the name of their faction. However, the show provides us with a key bit of insight here. Tengen, Geto, Kuroi, who's Riko's bodyguard, and we can assume many others are acutely aware of the sacrifice that Riko is making. When Riko demands to go to school rather than return to Jujutsu High, despite the morning's battles and the imminent threat to her life, the crew is informed that they have been ordered by Tengen to let Riko do what she likes with the remaining time while they keep her safe. Geto himself displays a deep sense of empathy here, commenting on the fact that after the assimilation, the life she knows will be gone, so they should be thoughtful of her needs and desires in the remaining time she has left. Even arrogant, over-the-top Gojo acknowledges this in his own way, stating that since she's lecturing them on the fact that assimilation isn't death like they believe, they don't need to feel bad about sending her off. To me, it's a small but very powerful detail we're given here. The assimilation is necessary. Riko losing all she is and will ever be is necessary, but they acknowledge the tremendous sacrifice she's making. They acknowledge her, and that's important. Failing to do so for me would have represented a deep moral flaw within the Jujutsu faction. It would have represented a blind adherence to a greater good trumps all mentality that usually leads to deep problems for any organization that's supposed to be dedicated to the protection of the people. As the episode progresses, we're reintroduced to Toji Fushiguro, Megami's father, and are provided some interesting insights into the nature of his character. Toji is the architect of the Star Religious Group's efforts to obtain Riko, and despite his quirks, is clearly a force to be reckoned with. The fact that he's known as the Sorcerer Killer is evidence enough of this. One isn't just given those kinds of nicknames. The show does a great job of contrasting the various aspects of his personality. Toji is a gambler, one of those guys that loves to spend his time making bets on races and things of the like. He's also terrible at it, frequently losing money. The mediator between him and the Star religious group comments that he's never seen him win, and short-term money-making schemes just aren't his forte. This is contrasted by the fact that he's cunning as hell and knows how to plan for the long term, using the large deposit he received from the Star religious group as a means to throw waves of curse users at the Jujutsu High faction in the form of a public bounty on Rico's head is evidence of this. Toji is a gambler, but he knows how to use that aspect of his personality to his advantage, gambling on the fact that the Jujutsu High faction, with Gojo present, will be too powerful for any number of average curse users. He sees this as the perfect opportunity to wear them down before stepping in and doing his thing. He's a character that I'm interested in seeing more of, and I like the way Jujutsu Kaisen doesn't just have him out here as some big bad. He has a personality, his own motivations, and his own way of doing things. Everything we see in this episode works to flesh him out as a character, all while keeping us wanting to see more. His conversation with the mediator regarding Gojo led us to our next set of major revelations. We are given an idea of just how powerful Gojo is, which is then fleshed out later in the episode. Gojo is the first member of the Gojo clan in several centuries to possess both the Six Eyes and the Limitless technique. The tremendous significance of this is realized by us, the audience, when Gojo himself breaks down just what these techniques are capable of. To give the Cliff Notes version, Gojo is essentially capable of manipulating time and space, the physics of the world around him, and any number of things utilizing curse energy. The techniques are insanely complex, with a definite mathematical component that speaks to not only how insanely powerful Gojo is, but how intelligent he is as well. This theme of intelligence, raw ability, and power spills over to the rest of the Jujutsu High crew as well. Shoko is revealed to be an absolute prodigy in the use of reverse curse energy, being so talented and adept at its manipulation that neither Gojo or Geto are capable of replicating her techniques. This fact is further cemented when Gojo is fighting with the curse clone user and fails to pull off his own reverse curse technique. Shoko is in a league of her own in that regard. As the story progresses, we see just how talented and out of the ordinary Geto is as well. As Geto engages one of the mercenary curse users that are after Rico, we learn that Shikigami curse manipulation users are typically terrible at close combat, a fact that Geto uses to fool his opponent into a terrible set of decisions that end with Geto giving him a multi-piece combo and a goddamn biscuit. And sidebar, I can't help but think the inspiration for the curse user Geto was fighting was taken from the classic Ranma 1/2 series. Tell me this dude doesn't look like Gemasao Tome. But moving on, Geto can throw hands, and more than that, he's incredibly observant with a high battle IQ. He knows how to assess situations quickly and flawlessly while putting plans into motion. Geto is a force and isn't to be played with. In addition to all of that, we continue to get insights into the type of person Geto was at this time, kind and empathetic, with a great sense of humor. At times I continue to be shocked at just how good of a dude he was. Furthermore, we're shown over and over again just how close him and Gojo were. I'll reiterate again, you can't help but wonder what happened to change him, and I can't wait to see these events play out. As we get to the end of the episode, we're left with a cliffhanger that definitely gets us, the audience, asking even more questions. Kuroi, Rico's bodyguard, ends up kidnapped, and we're left wondering how that could have happened with Geto present. Did Toji make a move? It gets us beyond hype for the next episode, and I literally cannot wait. Oh, and real quick, I have to say, Jujutsu Kaisen continues to have some of the best ending songs and sequences around. Skipping a Jujutsu Kaisen ending is damn near impossible, man. They're a vibe every single time. Shout out to Mappa for real. Jujutsu Kaisen continues to deliver at an insanely high level in all phases. From a narrative perspective, an art and animation perspective, everything. Humor, drama, action, and more, Jujutsu Kaisen is hitting on all fronts, and if you haven't, you definitely need to lock in with this series. Let me know what you thought about this series so far in the comments below. Also, if you enjoyed the video, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button. It's quick, lets me know that you like what you saw, and really helps the channel out. I'll catch you on the next one.